Welcome to the metaphysical journey. For this pick a card reading, I'm going to ask that you choose only one card, card number one, number two, or number three. For this to work, please choose only one because each of these cards come from a different deck and they have different messages. So to get the right message for you, please select one, two, or three. If you selected card number one, this card comes from the Native Spirit Oracle by Denise Linn. If you look at the cards, you'll see a beautiful horse running across a landscape. The horse is free, wild. There's not a rider on its back. There are no reins. There's no bit in its mouth. There's nothing directing its path. The message for you from Spirit is that you are like this horse, and you probably don't feel like it most of the time. Many times you probably feel like you are being directed and guided by everyone else but you, and you're just kind of going along for the ride, basically. In early history, the horse was domesticated pretty early on by humans, and the horse was a beautiful partner for humans because the horse allowed humans to travel further and faster, and also the horse would carry a load that the people couldn't do on their own. So it was a beautiful combination, a partnership between horse and rider. And while that partnership worked really well for the horse, it's not necessarily meant for you. And Spirit wants you to know that you're free, you're wild. This life is about you having fun, enjoying the ride while you're here, the ride that you direct yourself, not other people. I pulled a second card for this, as I have for each of the cards in this reading. And the second card, they all come from the same deck, and that's the Sacred Spirit Oracle by Anna Stark. And this card says, Ascended Masters, create open communication. Just like a horse and rider, there's communication between the two. The rider directs the horse, and if the horse trusts the rider, it will follow and go where it needs to go. Over time, the horse can just automatically go anyway because it trusts the rider so much. But in your life, do you feel like you are not in control of your destination, of your destiny, that it's other people calling the shots for you, and you feel guided in some way to follow their lead, to go in their direction, even though at times it feels wrong for you? That's something to pay attention to, because as a free horse, a freedom horse, you have an internal navigation system, and that's been placed in you, and that's what directs your path. And in this card of Ascended Masters, create open communication, this isn't just open communication with others, this is open communication between you and your guides, your higher self, the universe, divine, whatever you want to call it. That's the communication system, because that's what helps you follow the guidance of your internal navigation system. And I'm going to keep saying that. It's not like you're a car, but we're talking about progress and movement here, going from one place to another. So that is important in you. That's what you should be following. That's what's guiding you forward. And when we turn our back on that internal guidance and we start listening to the guidance of other people, it's very easy to get lost. And in the process of getting lost, not just directionally, but you also lose yourself and you forget who you are, and you start to believe that you don't have a say anymore. As I've said in many different readings, if you don't know your destination, who is controlling your destiny? And that's what the Freedom Horse card is about. You control your destiny. You are meant to run wild and free and enjoy this life. So don't let anyone control your destiny or control your destination. That is solely up to you. You're a sovereign being. You are a freedom horse. Never forget that, and never give your power away to anyone. Never. If you selected card number two, this card comes from the Alice in Wonderland Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. And this card says, changed in the night. You have changed quickly. Now, you've probably felt this. It's like you go to bed one night, you wake up the next morning, and you feel like you're a completely different person, and you wonder, what is going on? What has happened? Why are things so strange now? For a long time, everything was fine, and now suddenly life is different, and I feel different in life. And that is because of a lot of changes and upgrades that have been taking place, and people are getting all kinds of interesting downloads and stuff. And your life is rapidly changing. In the past, things were more gradual. It was slow. It's easy to keep up with because it's such a gradual progression. But now it's like everything is super speed fast. And you're wondering, how do I keep up? Am I going crazy or something? What is happening? If you selected this card, the message for you from Spirit is that you are not crazy. And yes, it is a lot more rapid, and you are keeping pace with it. Even though it may feel like you're not, you are keeping pace. So things are happening rapidly, like Alice that fell down the rabbit hole. You probably feel that you've been thrown into some type of a rabbit hole yourself. And it's just like, where am I? What is happening? You feel like you're free falling, but you're not. This is all in divine timing and its plan, because it is time for you to prepare for the next phase or chapter of your life, however that plays out. And that's largely determined by you, but it's happening very, very quickly. I pulled a second card for this from the Sacred Spirit, and the card says between worlds, new directions. And that really clarifies this in my mind, because that is where you are. You are between worlds. It feels like you're falling down into this big black pit, but you're not. You are transitioning and changing into the next phase of your life. So right now, it feels a little awkward, but when you hit the bottom or hit the top, however you want to look at it, it's going to make more sense. So don't despair. You're not lost. Everything's happening for a reason. And yes, you are changing very rapidly. And that is a beautiful thing. You're changing because it is time, and you are willing to change. That's beautiful. Many people are not. So don't lose faith. Everything is well. If you chose card number 3, this card comes from Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. And this card says mirror. Who or what is triggering you? Now, in the last card number 2, I talked about changes happening very rapidly. One result of that is that things that used to not affect you, now they suddenly do, and you find yourself being triggered by all kinds of stuff. And this plays out in different ways in which you may be thinking, wow, I have really become judgmental. What is my problem? Am I biased or something? What's happening? Why am I so negative? And you're seeing it as negativity, but it's not necessarily negativity. You are being triggered by things for a reason. If you look at this card, you see a lady that's kneeling down by the water, and she's looking into the water. And what is she seeing? She is seeing her reflections. And when you are triggered by something, you are often as well seeing something reflected in you through that trigger. Sounds odd. I'm sure it does. But triggers are little red flags, or little flags that pop up that say, pay attention to me. There's a lesson to be learned here. And many times the lesson that we learn is something that exists within us. It's something that we need to look at because it's time for that to change. And as you are upgrading and moving up on your spiritual path, these are going to happen because it is time to deal with them. So what kinds of things trigger you? It can be any number, of course, but really pay attention to those. And don't just pay attention to the surface, the reaction or response that you're witnessing. Don't just stop there. And that's what most people do. They see something that makes them mad and they respond, or they don't respond, they react to the emotional, whatever. But step back and go one layer deeper and really examine, all right, what is fueling? What's the energy behind that behavior that I'm seeing right now that's really just pissing me off? What is happening? When you look at that deeper level, that's where you see the lesson. And when you see that, where the energy is, ask yourself, all right, if that is being highlighted for me in the form of a trigger, what is within me that's comparable to that? What am I doing that's similar? And you will more than likely find something. It may not play out exactly as the way you're witnessing, but it's all about the energy. Definitely the energy. So pay attention to that. I was going to tell a story, but I'm not going to tell a story. This is your story, not mine. So pay attention to that emotional trigger that and go deeper into the energy behind it. Where is it flowing from? What's the cause of it? And intuit into that. And there is where you're going to find the life lesson for yourself. And being able to see that is going to help you immensely. Not just help you, but you'll be able to help other people going through the same thing. So if you come across a person that they're just all distraught because of something, you really can take this nice neutral observer role and say, all right, let's examine this. You're really upset, you have all this emotion, let's look at that deeper and ask them, where do you think this is coming from? What has caused it? And when you can help them with that, you will help them grow too. I pulled an additional card for this from the Sacred Spirit, and the card is Emotional Challenges. Resolve the issue. That's a good follow-up. So this card shows that this is something, it's a trigger, so it's emotional, but what's underneath the emotion? What's fueling the emotion? That's where the answer lies. And that's where you find the resolution to these issues, not just with yourself, but also to help other people as well. And as a light worker, you are here to assist other people. And you really can't assist them with something if you haven't learned it firsthand yourself, because then you are in a role of experience that you've dealt with it. You have hands-on experience with that because you know what it's about. So something to think about. A great card if you chose this one, because triggers they're happening everywhere. Our society this is an area where we're seeing this play out more and more, of how people are responding and reacting to things. And it's where a lot of light work needs to be taking place. And you are one of the ones to make that happen. So thank you for that. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the Pick a Card readings. I hope that you found something that is of benefit to you or to someone else that you know. I want to, as always, thank you for following me on the metaphysical journey, and I hope you have a really great day.